Okay, so I guess we can start our session today. Um Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Cargo Webinar 2020. It's third episode today, and we will be talking about the digital connectivity. If it was a physical meeting, then probably at this time we share the housekeeping item. Some of you asked for Wi-Fi. Since we moved to the virtual events, you have to use your own Wi-Fi. And regarding the housekeeping items, you need not to switch off or silence your phone, but make sure if you have kids or your partners around, tell them not to disturb you. Uh, this digital connectivity topic is always very interesting for the air cargo community. So hopefully you can see my screen. Here we have uh, today we are going to have 5 sessions delivered by different speakers all around the digital connectivity. The first session will be delivered by IATA myself, Tahir Sayyed. Second session, we have invited Wasim Gabish from UNCTAD to talk about the collaboration to boot digital connectivity. Third session is about postal operators and airline connectivity. Due to upcoming regulation, this topic is going to be very important, and the digital connectivity among the airlines and postal operators, it's going to be very critical, and Stephen Herman from UPU will be presenting this. We will also hear from Laurent Joseph from Champ Cargo Systems about the messaging service providers and their views on the digital connectivity and the modernization. And last but not the least, we have Scott McCrocodile from the Vice Tech Global. He will be speaking about the unleashing the potentials of Epic platform. So digital connectivity topic, as I mentioned, it is always very interesting. Uh, Whenever in the digital cargo conference, which was the annual conference, and this time unfortunately we have to move it to the uh, with the digital webinars because of the current COVID situation. In this digital cargo conference, I think all the time industry was seeking simplified processes. They were asking to develop the standards. They were asking to improve transparency, have better visibility, introduce automation in the connectivity, and allow for flexibility. One want to work with multiple partners in different locations, different partners. So every time audience, they were challenging IATA to address their agenda. And I remember a particular instance where in 2016, some of the industry experts, they had the panel discussion, and then what they concluded that it could easily take up to 6 weeks if we say moderately. In other cases, it could be more than that to set up a digital connectivity between an airline and a freight forwarder. And they actually uh, challenge each other, challenge IATA to address this issue. So IATA took this challenge and start working on a centralized platform to simplify the digital connectivity, a very basic platform. And I am going to share with you the information about this platform. We call it EPIC platform. EPIC stands for Enhanced Partner Identification and Connectivity. Very simple platform which we should have developed probably years ago, but it's it's there now, and I will share with you some statistics that who has adopted and how it is going on. So I have a couple of slides to share with you what are the digital connectivity challenges, hurdles in every digital cargo conference or in any event. Whenever we talk about digital connectivity, we talk about less visibility, no transparency, additional costs, data loss, poor coordination, manual interventions, and processes inefficiency. And we know about all these challenges, and there are many new companies who are coming to cargo, and actually for them they struggle to understand. So today, before I directly jump on Epic, I am going to share a story with you. Meet John. He is one of the 15,000 IATA CAS associates, and John has 23 branch offices worldwide. Jean is considering contracting a new messaging partner for exchanging his business data with 126 airlines. And not only with 126 airlines, but with other parties, customs, security agencies. Once the new partner is selected, John needs to get and distribute new IDs for his 23 branch offices to 126 airlines. Just 23 branches and 126 airlines. So now what John and his new CCS partner they are doing is they are making phone calls, writing emails, personal meetings, sending reminders. The overall process spans over months, and it requires dedicated resources on both freight forwarder side, CCS side, airline side. So even if many IT companies, CCSs, they have their processes very well defined, but when they talk to other communities, other CCS partners, there is no standardization. So here the challenge begins. There is another story. Meet one of the IATA airline member, Roxanne. She is one of the 280 IATA member airlines, and she must inform her 7,000 freight forwarders about her new CCS partner or her new messaging capabilities. So this is another story, and it will take days and weeks and months to address this challenge. So when we actually listened well to the industry during the digital cargo conference, and based on the industry feedback, IATA set up a digital connectivity working group comprised of airline, freight forwarder, comprised of mainly the IT companies, and airlines and other freight forwarders, they joined as observers. And we start discussing how we can provide visibility, transparency in air cargo digital connectivity. And one of the output of the digital connectivity working group was IATA set up a global database for maintaining and distributing air cargo stakeholder digital connectivity setups. This is accessible through a web portal and also through a web service. There are a number of features: search, distribute, generate permanent IDs, share capabilities, set up lookup service, access control. And this centralized repository is maintained by IATA. There are a number of features: registration, set up profile, set up access control. When we were setting up this platform, one of the challenge was everyone wanted to have a complete access control. They wanted to control that with whom they could share their information, with certain stakeholder or with a particular company. So complete access control mechanism is available in this. you can share your branch messaging capabilities, IDs, connectivity method, dashboard, and we have a number of features. I am going to give you a quick demonstration of this platform in a few minutes. And what are the benefits? The using this centralized platform, one can reduce the cost, gain time, efficiency, digital cargo acceleration, improving efficiency in movement of goods. It could have big impact on the cargo operation, data quality improvements, advancing automation technology, and process automation. Recently, one airline who is using it, they said they could reduce 40% work of a permanent resource by using Epic. Uh, Epic was developed earlier this year and it was launched in March, right when the COVID started. So IATA did not make big announcement. However, some of the pilot participants, Qatar Airways, Lufthansa, Kuehne+Nagel, they actually advised IATA that make this tool available since it is already developed. So as of last week, I said last week, I did not include it this week. 25 airlines have joined. If we include this week, I believe 27 or 28 airlines, they have joined Epic. These are the companies who have joined Epic. Then we have 11 customs and international organizations. They have joined Epic. Then we have recently see a adoption trend in the CCSs and IT companies. So far, 7 IT companies and the CCSs, they have joined Epic. Other than these companies, airlines, customs, and the CCSs, we also have a few freight forwarders. They have joined Epic. And you will see in a short while in UPU presentation that how it is going to be beneficial for the postal operators, and we expect in future postal operators will be joining. So it's time for a quick demo of the tool. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here is the platform. As I mentioned, it has 2 access methods. One is directly through the web for the companies who would like to have the portal access. Once anyone is registered, you can simply log in using a password. Once you log in, you see a number of features like dashboard, profile, location, search, and partnership. Search is the most common features used so far, and actually it gives you a very good idea that what Epic is. So let's say we search airlines, those airlines who are using Epic, and then we can see these 27 airlines. They are using Epic, and how they are using, what information I can get about these airline. Let's take one airline, for example, Turkish. If I click on Turkish, what I can see is the general contact person of Turkish airline for cargo and the technical digital contact person for Turkish airline. Other than that, what can I see is the capabilities of Turkish airline. They support which message, which version, and when they last updated their capabilities. And then what else I can see? I can also see the connectivity options, 2 connectivity options which Turkish is providing. So the first option is the teletype address. Turkish received type B CETA messaging, and also they support SMTP protocol, and they can process the message if are sent on this address. So, so on and so forth. All these airlines, um, they you can see their capabilities, contact person, and now interestingly, I just logged in as airline KLM Cargo, who have their contact person entered. They have capability 0 and connectivity detail 0. They have entered their capabilities, but they have decided not to share it with other airlines. They are sharing it with the ground handlers, with the freight forwarders, customs, but not with other airlines. So we do have the information, basic information about these airlines, and in future we will have more airlines. Also, not only you can search CCSs and IT company, but the custom and government authorities. In our industry, we always struggle to get up-to-date information about custom initiatives. So Epic is going to be the single source for that. We take example of Transport Canada. Transport Canada is coming up with their PACT program, and if anyone want to see, their general contact is here and technical contact is available. Capabilities, so Transport Canada is saying they would require FWB version 16 and 17. They want to receive an XFWB version 3.0. And same for the house airway bill information. And also Transport Canada, they are saying for connectivity, they are providing a web service, so based, and details of web service are available on this address. And if I go to this address, I can get further details about the Transport Canada connectivity. So Epic is going to maintain this information. Uh, there are many other features available for search. Sometimes we receive a message and we don't know who sent this message. So now we can enter PIMA address, teletype address, or email address, and then we can see it was sent by this company. Also, we can search other stakeholders, freight forwarders, ground handler, GSA, IATA, colleagues, international organization, post, and shippers. We have the provision to add more stakeholders, and all the data you see, you can actually download it in Excel, and also we provide a web service. You can actually connect with this and you can search all this data and download all this data. You can integrate your system with Epic. This was one of the features of Epic. There are other features uh, which I am going to quickly show you in the test environment. Let's say if you are a freight forwarder, for one of your branch, you define a new connectivity mechanism. Let's say this branch in Taiwan, this freight forwarder, I am just showing you the test data. This freight forwarder is saying I have a new PIMA address. It's uh, Champ PIMA. In Hanoi. One can specify if it is direct connectivity, can specify the connectivity channel, or can specify the CCS. So now this freight forwarder has defined his PIMA address, and then as the next step, this freight forwarder need to distribute this PIMA address with some airlines. I earlier gave you a story that freight forwarder need to distribute his branch data with the airline. So let's say this freight forwarder want to distribute the data with the US airline. Once you select the country, then you can see American and Delta, and then you can say, can we connect and distribute? Now, Epic system will automatically send a SMS, email notification, and then to the Delta and American airline, and the freight forwarder can start mirroring the service level agreement that this was sent today. There are so many days passed and this airline did not respond. And on the airline side, this is, as I said, this is the test system. Airline has the provision to respond back to the request. So from this freight forwarder cache number this, a new PIMA address has been registered. So capabilities and airline can say, send me FWB 17 as test. And once airline is saying okay, freight forwarder will be getting a acknowledgement that Delta airline has accepted. If airline rejects, so rejection, and also complete order trail is maintained on the airline side, on the freight forwarder side. For the CCSs, we have added some additional functionality. This function with distribution function we have implemented for the CCSs plus some other functionality. So I said this is a very simple system. Anyone who is registering for it, what they need to do is they need to update their profile and register for notification and access control. In some cases, you need to mention who is your CCS so that your CCS can get a notification, and very easy to add your capabilities. You want to add cargo imp, cargo XML, cargo IQ, IATA one record, UPU mail messaging, UNC effect messaging, WCO data model. Everything is available, and if new standards come in future, you will be automatically seeing that standard here, and then one can choose. And done, save. So now the new capabilities have been added. So so on and so forth. There are many other features, very simple features of Epic platform. I think what I'll do is I'll stop here. I think it gives you a good perspective of the IATA Epic platform, and let me go back to the presentation. Okay, and what I suggest is I know you will be having many questions. At the end of these sessions, we have reserved some time to answer your questions. So I would suggest that if you have any questions, you post in the question screen. It will be visible to us. We have an administrator here, and we will address those questions at the end of all the sessions. With this, I would like to invite Wasim Gabish from UNCTAD, who is managing the ASYCUDA program. He is going to share with you how IATA has collaborated with UNCTAD and what is the value for the industry. So, Wasim, would you share your screen? I think that is better so that you can change the presentation yourself.
Do you see it, Tahir?
Yes, I can see your presentation.
Okay, perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in this wide globe. I would like, on behalf of the ASYCUDA crew, to thank our dear partners IATA for this excellent opportunity to share with you our successful implementations for the electronic manifest within customs authorities. So I will first quickly introduce the ASYCUDA program and then talk about how we started our partnership with IATA. Then I will follow explaining how we succeed to connect the airline industry and all cargo stakeholders to customs, what are the advantages the ASYCUDA Cargo XML solution brought in terms of trade facilitation, and finally share with you a few words about our strategy with our partners on how we can implement IATA solution in next countries. So the ASYCUDA program stands for Automated Systems for Customs Data. It is a program under the governance of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. We provide technical assistance and develop advanced software applications for customs authorities and government agencies. We are continuously providing flexibility, creativity, capacity buildings, innovation, reliability, security, to achieve e-government and e-customs solutions. So what makes ASYCUDA special and strong is our diversity and our huge experience over the last 40 years in procedures, optimization and trade facilitations. So we have been these last 4 decades re-engineering new solutions with new technologies. We are about 150 experts worldwide in more than 100 countries. And we have many contributors and partners that assist the program to achieve this big challenge. So the ASYCUDA community covers the whole continents from America and the Caribbean islands, Africa to the Middle East, Europe, and finally Asia and Pacific islands. You can always hear about successful achievements of ASYCUDA wherever you go in these countries. So ASYCUDA is specialized in customs procedures. It covers the whole goods clearance cycle from pre-arrival, cargo management, goods storage, declaration, processing, payment, cargo release. We provide interconnection between these components, and hence customs can have a global view how procedures can go through, and thanks in addition to the statistics tools and audits controls, they can assess properly and apply the right risk management. As you can see in these pictures, manifest the cargo is the first step in the cycle. So without having the information automated and on time, customs will have bigger challenge to control the goods and release them as soon as possible. The challenge especially becomes harder for air transport compared to other means of transport, since the goods being carried are sensitive. We have perishables, express consignments, urgent deliveries. That makes things more complex, especially for short connections coming with big consignments. So the solution becomes obvious. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. IATA is representing over 240 airlines and more than 80% of the total air traffic. So it is the standard of the airline industry. And we started then, we had the chance to start the first interaction with IATA solution in Seychelles Islands and 4 other countries without financial implications, where we succeed to implement electronic manifest based on the IATA AD messages, FFM, FWB, FZB, and FHL. Although at this time the communication between customs authorities and airlines were only based on email exchanges, the clearance process was shortened and customs controls was accelerated. At the time, we remember there were some airlines that wanted to play the game, so they were exchanging with us, while others retained and remained sending just by manual captures. They lost quickly the business because of the delay they had. Many consignee, many customs brokers moved to the airlines that were exchanging with us, and the others had no choice to follow and comply. So we signed an MOU with IATA in 2015, especially when IATA came with the new format of the messages, the XML format. And we could, of course, take advantage of these technologies that has no limits and the capacity of making systems talk with each others. Of course, the main purpose was to let airlines, freight forwarders, and shipping agents that use this global standard and exchange with customs authorities within ASYCUDA world. So we had the first implementation in 2017 in GRCC, Jamaica Revenue Commission, and quickly we followed in Africa, in Angola, General Taxation Administration in 2018, with most of the carrier freight forwarded known worldwide were involved. So let's have a deep look now to the solution. The cargo XML solution and EBIC, how they are involved in ASYCUDA. Basically, 4 fully integrated messages that we have: the XFFM for flight manifest, XFWB for master airway bills and first level airway bills, the XFZB for the houses. We have also the XFNM, the response messages that ASYCUDA send as acknowledgement to the airlines or to the filers in general, and to report errors, if any. So as you can see in the pictures, we have 2 main filers. Airlines in general, they hold the flight manifests and sometimes the houseway bills, while freight forwarders, they hold the XFZBs. We do the exchange with ASYCUDA World through emails exchanges, since it was since the beginning the main type of broadcast, and also for real-time responses we support web services. What was really interesting with these messages and this interconnectivity, it was so flexible. We had no limit in terms of distances. You can have your airline in Europe while the legal filer is based in Asia, sending information to customs authorities in Africa, and all the entities with the local representatives receives instantly the notifications, the XFNM. And of course, thanks to the XML structures, we could also build a nice dashboard for customs and for airlines to follow the daily exchanges for the message monitoring. So you can target flight number, date of departure, airline, or to follow the status of a specific message, whether it was integrated or rejected. And this tool helped customs to gradually monitor airline by airline and switch them on once they are ready. They could also get automatic notification from the system for the manifest registration, which is very important to share this information with customs brokers. Sometimes they need way bill information, and thanks to this interconnectivity, things were moving faster. Customs have been also given strong tools thanks to the XML that we have to follow and to do the monitoring. So we can see on picture on the right, we can integrate over 7,000 airway bill on a monthly basis compared to 700 manifests. From the other hand, the second picture, which is very interesting, so customs could follow how successful were the exchanges. So as soon as you can see, there is a green line, very stable, because customs succeed since the beginning to interact with the airline, understand why the rejection is there, and they could together communicate, collaborate, and of course get rid of these rejected exchanges that didn't increase at all. So if we go also in deep about what we can get as advantages from this nice solution, is now we can have a deep look in some information that we have in the XFWB or the XFZB, such as the special handling information that can be very interesting, especially for documents or express consignment. So we put some mechanism in ASYCUDA to automatically detect these kinds of behaviors. And of course, in the pictures on the right, we can see them highlighted in green for customs to pay more attention for this special consignment. And ASYCUDA is able to automatically clear the sway bills for the release of the goods. In the second hand, so of course we are fastening processes, but at what risk? So having the information in advance, so customs now can do the right assessment and the right risk analysis. So we can have some airway bills that can go for a subject for a selected control, some others that will not show any risk, and then can go automatically for the clearance and release. In addition to that, now we have a nice data set that we can explore in case we have in advance information about the goods, such as the HS compliance. We know exactly what are the goods being carried. This will give a plus and advantage for the customs brokers, that this information will automatically be reflected in the future for the declaration processing, and of course for risk management. All of this implementation is a big challenge for every country, especially in the beginning, as said Tahir. So there will be a duplication of emails. Sometimes I miss up your communication. I don't know how you connect with the system. What are the emails that I should use in case I want to get back to you with an acknowledgement? What are the capabilities of using which messages, XFWB, XFFM, XFZB? So EPIC was a kind of a boosting solution, especially we have seen this in Rwanda, Jamaica, especially Rwanda. Regardless to the COVID-19, we succeed to have a smooth implementation and avoid delays. So EPIC was really a key success for updating fast customs about any modification from the stakeholders, and a better follow-up. And that's why with IATA we decided for any new implementation in ASYCUDA world for the cargo XML solution, EPIC will be on board for the country. So if I can summarize quickly the benefits, of course, trade facilitations. Now we have also manifests that available for imports and exports. We have considerably reduced the cost. So there are many airlines that have no necessary legal representative in the country, so they can broadcast their files since their headquarters. We considerably reduced the clearance of the time, and we have now, which is something outstanding, the express operators involved, airway bills automatically cleared. The submission now can be done, and we can have a pre-clearance by customs brokers. When we say no manual capture, so we also avoid bottlenecks. So I recall again, the manifest is the first step in the goods clearance. Without manifest, goods clearance cannot go through. There is a time loss, big delays, especially when you have big consignments. We also can avoid errors when manually submitting information in the system, so the control will take longer. And unfortunately, with manual exchanges, brokers will be unable to submit the declaration in advance, which is a big handicap for customs clearance. So basically, the strategy of the ASYCUDA program is to continue this excellent partnership and collaboration with IATA. For the moment, we have Cargo XML in Jamaica, in the Caribbean with EPIC, Lebanon in the Middle East, Angola, Rwanda with EPIC, Uganda in Africa. Big project CARICOM involving 14 countries of the region, and in the pipe we have Albania, BIH, Kosovo, Barbados, Bangladesh, and many countries will follow. So our strategy is very simple. It's to go through a smoother presentation, to the solution. We provide assessment and analysis for every country. We prepare an environment, a prototype where some airlines can gradually exchange with customs authorities. And of course, it is very important to invest in communication. It is the success of the good implementation. That's why we arrange seminars, provide capacity building sessions, awareness, and through this we can achieve a good prototype, and once everything is stabilized, we can engage with real production. So in the future and currently now, we have also an excellent partnership with Universal Post Union, where we are now in the development of an interface between ASYCUDA and UPU's electronic system for real-time data exchange. This solution is based on the IATA XFHL message, will be the link between UPU cost item and master AWL bills, the XFWB that will have the whole list of the customs items. So thank you again for your attention. If you still have any question, please let me know. I will be pleased to answer. Tahir, I will give you back the floor.
Thank you very much, Wasim. Very interesting presentation, and what a success story. I have noticed that people have started asking questions. There were a few questions about EPIC, and also some questions now started coming for ASYCUDA. I suggest we answer these questions at the end. I think now I will invite UPU Stephen Herman to share with us that why it is now needed to have the digital connectivity between the postal operator and airlines, and if it is not done, what would be the impact? So Stephen, over to you. You can share your screen, please.
Yes. Thank you, Tahir. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you, IATA, for inviting the UPU to this webinar. So I'll try to answer your questions. So I will start with some background. Sorry, one of the main the challenges we are facing is about regulations. So post and airlines have to exchange information. So that's critical, and it's becoming more and more critical. But what you can see on this screen is that regulations are changing. We have on the UPU side, there are more and more elements that have to be exchanged between post and airlines. So that's something important. There's a close collaboration between the UPU and IATA. For that, there's a joint working group on this. But in addition to that, there are also changes regulatory changes in some regions or in some countries. We have ICS2 in Europe, we have the GDPR, we have the US Stop Act. So we are facing those challenges of exchanging the correct information on time. There are some key milestones here for the post, for the transport. So we are today, so post, so on the left part is more between post, but you can see that Cardit, which used to be optional, is becoming mandatory, and not only that, it will have to contain some mandatory information. You can see on 2023 an AR flag in Cardit. So this is something that UPU and IATA are currently discussing. And that's critical, because if posts do not send the correct information to the airlines, then there's no way for the mail to be transported. So this collaboration is quite important. On the post side, what UPU offers now more for the post. So we have developed an application, so a mail management solution called IPS, that is deployed in 178 countries. So we have IPS can handle some operations, mail operations or accounting. But what's important is that there's also the EDI, the exchange of EDI messages between post and airlines. So we always ensure that IPS has the latest version implemented of those messages. So on the post side, we do our best to have all the countries able to exchange EDI information with the airlines. So 178 plus the countries using their own system. So we are reaching the 200 countries. On the UPU, so we also manage, so we host and manage the Postnet network. So this is an EDI network. So the EDI network, so it's been designed for managing EDI addresses for post, airlines, and customs authorities. So any of these entities can connect to Postnet and exchange EDI messages. So again, this is something important. We have cases of airlines contacting us saying that they would like, because they have to exchange information with the airlines, but they have no solution. Sometimes they have the software, but they don't know how to exchange EDI with the post. So it's important to know that there's a network for that, and all these entities can be connected to this network. On that network, there are some added value services. So that's a set of services that we offer to the post and to the airlines on top of the Postnet network. And one of them is the conversion of the Cardit and Resdit messages into XFHL and XFWB messages. So that's an automatic conversion that can be done by the UPU. So from the Cardit and Resdit, we receive from the post and for the airlines, and then we make the XFHL and XFWB available to the airlines so that they can forward that to the customs. And actually, I see some area of development here after the presentation of ASYCUDA. There could be a link here for interfacing our systems. Still on the conversion, there are different options. So I won't go into all the details here. It's just to show that there are different options. So it can be quite complex, but actually we can summarize with these three possibilities here. Either conversion is done by airlines. So airlines exchange Cardit, Resdit, and they take care of the creation of XFHL and XFWB. Conversions or creation of these messages could be done by the post. So that could be an option. Or again, we propose a tool for the conversion of these messages. In fact, we are between the post and the airlines, and we do automatically the conversion. What's important in the conversion here is that it's an obligation. So it's a service that not all airlines are aware of, and again that's why we see again an opportunity here with EPIC on advertising on this service and on the services proposed by the UPU. We'll see that. So some challenges, difficulties. So that's coming also from the post. So it's not coming only from us, but because we have discussed, actually we have discussed EPIC already with some posts, with meetings with our users. And what we got from them is there are some difficulties to find the right contacts to discuss and agree on EDI exchanges. Some small posts or small airlines, it's not always easy to find the contacts to agree on these EDI exchanges. Sometimes it's new. It's new for some of them. So another issue is the version of these messages. Again, these messages, there are different versions, there are updates, and sometimes post and airlines exchange old versions and never upgrade to a new version, again, linked to the first challenge, because there's no contact, no real contact. They don't know who should be contacted for that. What are the capabilities of the airlines? Can the airline handle the latest version of OCardit? Sometimes posts do not know that, and at the end do not even ask. So we are ending up in exchanging all versions of those messages. I presented the postnet network. I presented the converter, so the CARDIT, RESDIT cargo converter. But again, here in our discussions with the airlines, we have noticed that not all airlines are aware of those services that we offer to them, the postnet network. And so again, here, it's important to have the right contacts for that and to present what is offered. On this slide, you can see some issues with the EDI exchanges. So this is based on the exchange of messages on the postnet network only. So does not represent all the exchanges. But we see that on the postnet, we see that there's only 52 airlines exchanging through our networks. But the most important here, as you can see, is that we have 485 active links, or links in fact, but 361 are passive. It means that we have posts, we have airlines that could exchange CARDIT, RESDIT. But you can see, for example, for 90 cases, CARDIT is sent, but there's no RESDIT. So we are not even sure that the CARDIT reaches the destination. So we have pending links. And again, that's also sometimes a question of contact. So 135 pending links. So it means that a request has been sent, but no answer. So does the post have the correct contacts? We don't know. It's still pending. And for some other reasons, we have also some refused links, and again, difficult to know exactly why. It could be some technical issues here, and again, it's important to know. On EPIC, in fact, the benefits we see on EPIC, and again, it's again linked to contacts. It's one central repository for the contacts and technical information, because this is something that does not exist at the moment. On the post side, we have that information, but only for the post and between the posts. I believe that the same exists for the airlines, but we do not have and we do not see a central repository where you could find post, airlines, IT companies, any type of entities involved in the supply chain. So that's a big benefit. Instead of trying to find information, we go to that central repository. New capabilities of software applications are immediately shared across all partners. This is linked to the versions of the EDI messages exchanged between posts and airlines. That's important because, again, I said that we have seen some post and airlines exchanging old versions of the application messages. Sorry, they should upgrade, but how to know who can exchange what? And again, EPIC can be the answer to this question. Easy management of the request with the dashboard. So we have played with EPIC with a test account, and I confirm that it's very easy. The management of the request is very, very easy. To place a request, to answer the request, to get the contacts for the request, to see the capabilities. That's very easy. And in fact, we're moving from an exchange of emails or phone calls with a real dashboard. We have presented EPIC, as I said before, to a group of users in a meeting. So we have advertised already on EPIC, and the feedback was positive. The feedback was very positive. Post confirmed all what I mentioned before, having the right contacts, having technical information. This is something extremely important. The UPU, we are pushing the post to exchange CARDIT, RESDIT with the airlines, but we are pushing them, but they need some help. They need, again, they need to know who can exchange, who is the contact, what type of agreement, and so on. So we see a lot of benefits here in the system, and we will continue promoting it in our various meetings with the post. So I'm reaching the end of the presentation. So thank you for that. So you have my email. I've added also the contact of my colleague Jan Bonianski, who is the manager of the transport program. He couldn't join, but if you have any question on the regulations, you can contact him. And you have any questions on the UPU solutions, you can contact me. So thank you. Back to you, Tahir.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Very interesting presentation. And I think you rightly mentioned the upcoming regulation ICS2. It is going to have actually big impact on the airlines who are carrying mail shipments. If they don't comply to the regulation effective March 2023, so either they won't be able to carry mail to the EU destination, or they need to find some other method. Otherwise, they must provide the advance information about the mail. And IATA and UPU have done quite a lot of work in this regard. With this now, also before we go to Champ, just one point. One of the benefit we used to see when we were having the physical event, that the networking and the linkage among the various participants and audience, and I think that we miss in the online events. But I am glad, Stephen, you mentioned that after hearing to ASYCUDA presentation, you now see a link between ASYCUDA and the UPU application. So at least to some extent, we still get these opportunities, although it is only for the speakers, but it's there. Then thank you. So with this, I will invite Laurent Josa from Champ Cargo Systems to share his view on the digital connectivity from a CCS provider perspective.
Yeah, thanks Tahir and IATA for having me here today to have a look at the position of the cargo community system providers on the digitalization in the air cargo industry. So let me start with a quick introduction. As you mentioned, Tahir, this year we cannot meet in Geneva to the traditional digital cargo conference. This year it is really a digital cargo conference. I'm expecting, therefore, a bigger audience, and also I have done a very high-level presentation only of today. Would like to say a little thing about Champ and its products. Champ Cargo Systems was founded in 2004 as a spin-off of the IT department of Cargolux, and CETA joined a little bit later as a second shareholder. Champ is providing IT solutions for the air cargo industry and also providing a cargo community system with its product Trexon Cargo Hub. And in addition, it has solutions for advanced customs and security filing with the products Trexon Global Security and Trexon Global Customs. My topics of today are a history lesson on the future and the value of a modern cargo community system, a CCS, and we have also a little look at the effect of the pandemic to the digitalization, and I'll conclude with a summary on these points. So almost 30 years ago, the CCS providers were created. Trexon Europe was created in 1991, and also in Asia there was Trexon Asia founded at the same moment. Trexon Europe was integrated into the Champ Cargo Systems family after the acquisition in 2012, and it's the backbone of the cargo community system. Why were they created at that time? The airlines were looking for data from the forwarders, and this aim is still there as well, but it's a little bit more in the meantime. Champ is an IATA strategic partner, and as this, Champ is participating in the IATA working groups like the Cargo Digital Connectivity Working Group, where we supported the development of processes as well. We are attending the Cargo Messaging Working Group, where we support the development of the digital transactions we need today. Cargo IMP as a standard was built relatively early, and it was also an advantage of the air freight industry compared to other transportation modes like ocean freight or road freight, because there was already a standard to transmit and exchange data mainly between the airlines and the forwarders. Then in 2012, Cargo XML was introduced. However, the adoption rate today is still very low, despite the fact that the sunset of the Cargo IMP manuals was decided in 2014. We do still see a huge majority of the transmissions in Cargo IMP with its little limitations on the size of the information which can be exchanged. Champ has then launched in 2018 a open format called Cargo JSON in order to facilitate the requirements of also new digital forwarders which came into the picture. Well, the question can be asked whether ADI platforms are necessarily an outdated technology. I would say no, because in other industries, like in the automotive, for example, still supply chain certification is based on EDIFACT. However, the non-compliance is strongly punished by exclusion from the business in case the parties are not adhering to the standards. What does it mean for the transition of the technology? We need to modify our platforms. Champ has done this in 2015 with a major exchange of its Cargo Hub platform. more data needs to be exchanged, and also new services need to be launched. Now let's have a look at the value of a modern cargo community system. What is the role of the CCS? The CCS is playing a key role for digitalization. It's managing the connectivity, and it's offering basically data distribution as a service. We are bringing the supply chain partners together with one connection to a big community. Also, one important point is that by our presence, we are increasing the data exchange over the community approach. What is also important is the quality and the quality improvement, because if we want to use the data from the beginning to the end of the supply chain, the data quality needs to be good, and therefore what we can offer as a CCS is that the data can be analyzed and improved. We have quality tools for this, and those can then be displayed in dashboards. The CCSs are also making sure that everybody can stay in the business regardless of the technology which is being used, because different technologies can be reached, translations need to be done, adaptations, version control, and translations, and we offer different options for a fragmented industry. Also, the CCS providers can support their partners as offering their one record. We have requests from small forwarders to big forwarders to support them in this evolving market. The CCS providers are also enablers. They are enabling global trade by connecting, integrating, and moving data instantly through the air cargo supply chain for hundreds of airlines and thousands of forwarders and other supply chain members. In addition, the CCS providers with a global network, they can feed the local communities with the data they have, and the modern CCS is also seen as a collaboration platform. It brings all parties from the industry together, whatever the size of their company is. Tahir has already given quite a detailed overview on EPIC, and also Scott will in the later session talk about EPIC. So I will keep this a little bit simple. I would say EPIC is to be seen as yellow pages and a management portal for companies not having other automation systems, which, for example, we have in place, and I will talk a little bit about those in a minute. As Tahir mentioned at the beginning, there were some constraints some time ago connecting the partners, contacting the parties like the forwarders to the airline, and we had basically two factors. One was VPN connections needed to be set up, MQ channels, and with API solutions or web services, we could simplify the connectivity. Also, Tahir mentioned about long registration times, which can take 2 to 4 weeks. And with this, also a lot of information needed to be shared before taking customers live. So what CHEMP has done there is improve the business processes for registrations and also for the collection of the data which we need from the parties. We have launched a sales automation process for contracts. We have an end-to-end connectivity within the community, and also we have a partial automated solution with certain other partners. In addition, in our core cargo airline solution, CargoSpot, we have integrated an API, and in case the airline is getting a new forwarder on board with whom they are doing business, they can activate that forwarder by one click, basically in the forwarder setup screen of their airline tool, and then the registration with the CHEMP Cargo Hub is being done automatically. CHEMP has also created a premium tracking solution based on API, to give access to other partners of the supply chain to the status information of the shipments. Let's have a quick look on the effect of the pandemic to the digitalization. Of course, there was a change in the way of working. Yeah. By the outbreak of COVID-19, we have been sent home. We have done team sessions instead of meetings. What we have seen is that almost 90% of our contracts are today being run via a digital solution. So no paper there. We have also seen that people were looking for more digital transactions versus handover of paper, which is bringing an increase of the ER bill. It's also, we have seen a lot of requests for global connectivity. And the one positive outcome of the pandemic situation is that most probably people had some more time to look after the projects or even pending projects. So we have projects which started during the pandemic situation. We have done even quite huge implementations, all remotely without being on site, which was normally the case. And we have seen XML projects taken up again. Let me summarize the key takeaways of today. The industry has to improve on collaboration, I would say. Data sharing needs to be on the plate versus keeping everything limited. And I would say first step should be to move into the direction of XML or JSON, to move away from the limitations of cargo IMP as a first step before we talk about other items. Digitalization is a big driver for the future. We need to strive for modernization. There is, however, no silver bullet solution. Whether it is blockchain, one record, or JSON, everything has its place. And you need to have the diversity. The CCSs are streamlining and supporting that diversity. And maybe we need even to look for a revolution of the processes in our industry, and Champ is ready to drive that road with you. Thank you very much. And in case of questions, feel free to contact me via LinkedIn or contact us via tracksonsales@champ.aero. Thank you very much, and back over to Tahir.
Thank you very much, Laurent, for the interesting presentation. Now, for the next session, which is WiseTech Global, Scott McCrocodile will be sharing his view. We know that Scott is based in Australia, Sydney, and this is probably the midnight there. So what we have done is we have recorded his presentation already, and I will be playing the recording. Scott, however, have agreed that he will make himself available for any questions later on. So here is WiseTech Global. Sorry, we have just one technical issue which I need to resolve.
Something that we all hear a lot these days as we're in the world of Zoom conferences and web conferences. Greetings from down under here in Australia, and pleased to have this opportunity to talk with you about EPIC and where it could lead in the future. I guess important to think about is that data exchange really is at the centre of air cargo. There's no doubt that moving data around the industry continues to be absolutely critical to the operation and success of air cargo. And in order to achieve that data exchange, the current process between forwarder and airline, it really is very manual and very time consuming, and change is long overdue. I'm not going to say how long I've been thinking that change is overdue, but a long, long time. So as the industry continues to evolve and further advance, there will just be more and more importance on the data exchange to work effectively, efficiently, and in a cost-effective way as well. There'll be big changes coming. IATA One Record is a good example, and that will have an impact that will provide benefits, but that is years away before it really starts to impact to the point where it's a major contributor to how data moves. So in the meantime, there's a lot that we can do as an industry to improve the efficiency of the process, and that's something that we should all work together to try and achieve. So where could EPIC lead to in the future? In thinking about that, I thought, well, what are the needs that the industry has into the future, from a forwarder and an airline perspective primarily, but not just from those. And without doubt, revenue growth, cost and efficiency savings, improvement in process such as the buying of air cargo capacity and the integration of e-bookings into that process. And the multiple other processes that also rely on data exchange. Of importance also, and one not to forget, is regulatory compliance. That's going to be more and more part of what we do, with the Placky process worldwide as a good example. So these things really are needs into the future. From the airline perspective, of course, revenue, particularly in these current times, cost savings, better efficiency, and having information available so that people can deal with that information when people are away and people are no longer in particular roles is important. Again, compliance is a major thing. The one thing that we can be sure of is that moving forward, we're going to need to strive to do more with less, and the COVID crisis has certainly changed our landscape, undoubtedly. So looking at where EPIC could get to into the future, it's important also to have a quick glance at where it is now, and looking at the EPIC dashboard made me think about the process that exists in searching as a simple thing, and this sharing of information that into the future is more important. And having the capacity to go to one place and look at information on the industry at large is really very valuable. So looking at Lufthansa Cargo as an example of one of the airlines on EPIC, and being able to quickly see contact details for general contacts and technical contacts at Lufthansa is very valuable information. And moving this information out across the industry is very important, because it's critical that people can identify who to talk to when they need to talk to them and facilitate that exchange. Even more so is the value in looking here, and I've chosen a different airline this time, looking at the capabilities of the airline when it comes to message types, when it comes to the method of message construction, the versions that are supported, and the capabilities and when information's last been updated. And this is critical information for IT providers, other airlines, ground handlers, all sorts of people to have. So having this in a single place is ideal. And then going down to the level even of identifying what the method of transfer of data is, and information on different structure or different processes such as SMTP or PIMA or whatever it may be, CEDA addresses. This information again in a single place is I think invaluable. So getting back to the topic, where could it lead to in the future? Well, I think EPIC as a facility to create, arrange and manage a more transparent process for new forwarders is something of value. I believe that, well, I know that there is an IATA generic PIMA under consideration within the Digital Connectivity Working Group, and that's a seemingly very positive step, which would allow forwarders much more flexibility in migrating between data transfer providers and give new forwarders a simplified process to commence with their data exchange. It would also help the airlines in reduction of configuration effort when changes do occur. It would be a valuable tool for ground handlers as well to strengthen their information on airline capabilities. And importantly, not to forget the regulators as well, because it would also create great value for regulators. Importantly, the further expansion of EPIC features to further enhance information on elements that EPIC maybe doesn't deal with today, but should deal with or could deal with tomorrow, or certainly will have to deal with tomorrow. APIs for rates and bookings and the capabilities across the airline groups on that process is something that's quite topical at the moment. And in the last couple of non-virtual but actual digital connectivity, digital cargo webinar, or digital cargo conferences, I should say. In the last couple of events, there's been a great deal of focus on APIs. So to have a single place where we can have that information available is very valuable. And the big change coming in years to come, of course, with One Record, it will absolutely need to have a process to manage that information about One Record. There is no doubt that I don't think that One Record could be a success at all unless we have this single source of information available across the industry to support the One Record process. That's very exciting times coming, that's for sure. Making the most of a mature process, that's thinking about where we've taken air cargo, and it is quite a mature program that's in place now when it comes to technology and the data exchange process. Having it as structured as it is really does help the industry. It helps air cargo without doubt, because of the critical nature of data. If we didn't have the thorough process that's in place, it would be much more difficult and we wouldn't have achieved as much as we have. So defining the standards that are needed for FWBs, FHLs, for FFRs, for FFMs, all those message types, defining those standards, working through the working groups to get them right and create them, ensuring that they remain relative and are modified as needed, and that happens quite regularly, and making sure that they have that long life that they need as well. But a question that comes to mind is industry participation actually adequate? We don't seem to have enough participation in some of these working groups. I think a few more airlines could probably add some value. There are substantial benefits of this collaborative approach, though, and that's something that I don't see happening in other modes of transport, where they don't have the ability to bring the think tank together necessarily and create that really structured and working model. So through this collaboration continuing, these days virtually, further benefits will continue to be achieved and realised. I would, as a starting point, urge all of the airlines and forwarders as well, and other IT providers to participate in EPIC as a starting point, and get initial information into EPIC so that the industry can benefit from this central source as we move forward to where it could lead into the future. So we have the now, and we have the future, and they're all very exciting things. So with that, I might open to take any questions or comments that might be appropriate. So over to you, back to you, Tahir.
So thank you very much, Scott. Although I did thank you him already. Let me actually now put the agenda back. So we are almost at the end of our session, and we did receive some question, and I think we might not be able to take all those questions, but some of these questions we must address. There are a few questions related to EPIC. So one question is, most airlines are using CCS providers. How are they connected or set up towards EPIC? Yes, in the current air cargo connectivity, I think 90% of the, even more than 90% connectivity is done through the CCSs. We have, as I mentioned in my presentation, we have actually developed the functionality. This EPIC was developed with the help of CCSs, who are part of the Cargo Digital Connectivity Working Group. Some of the CCSs, they are already on board, and they are actually using EPIC to distribute their customers, freight forwarders connectivity with the airlines, and they now measure how much time it is taking by the airline to set up the connectivity. There are a few other big CCS who are in trial mode with EPIC, and we are discussing how best EPIC could be integrated with their products to get maximum benefit for them. So I am pretty much confident that ultimately everyone will be coming on board for EPIC. There is the next question about also EPIC support for one record. I already demonstrated in the capabilities that EPIC already supports one record and the related standards. Then there was question that if EPIC you can search about search using capabilities FWB 17 and the list of partners who are supporting that. At the moment, no, but it is just a report. It can be developed and probably in future we will do that. There is one question from Clara for ASYCUDA. Can ASYCUDA also perform sanction checks?
Yes, in several ways. Actually, we have the system now that can show and identify when the goods arrives exactly. So we have in ASYCUDA means to reflect the arrival of the goods. And compared to the goods registration, the customs authority can, in their national configuration, set up a kind of a time frame that they allow the carrier or the legal representative to reflect this in the system. So let's say after 48 hours, you don't you don't provide the information in the system after the goods arrival, then fines may apply. In the same way, we have also provision to set up in the national configuration when you are able to do some amendments for free and when you can do them with fines, if any. So we give options to the filers to send updates through the XFHA, XFFM, XFWB, or XFZB. But if they just exceed the time frame given by customs, then fines and sanctions can apply. Finally, now we have also the risk management that is linked to the solution. So in case you have like a misclassification or undervaluation, then also we can automatically detect this in the system and do the right process. I hope that it is clear.
Thank you very much, Wasim. There was another question from someone asking increasing trend for associations to build commercial products in market. It's a little bit controversial. I think this question came after the UPU presentation. So I think it was Stefan when you mentioned about the products. I think here we need to clarify if the UPU is an association or a regulatory body. If you could share your views on.
Yeah, so the UPU is not an association; is an intergovernmental organization, and we are part of the United Nations. And that's true. We have two parts. So we are in charge of the regulations. So that's one. So for all international mail, accounting, and EDI exchanges, and all of that, we are in charge of the regulations. But on the other hand, I'm working for the Postal Technology Center, and we have also a mandate to provide a technical solution for the post. Initially was for the post, and now what was approved by our Council of Administration is that we can now provide solutions directly. We can open our network now to customs and to airlines as well. So that's officially a mandate we have.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefan. And I think we are already 5 minutes over the time, and this is now time for the audience to have a virtual coffee. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this session. There were a couple of questions related to the material. We will be sharing all the recording as well as all the supporting material on the website, and you can then access it. Thank you very much, and speak to you soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much, Tahir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.